All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Excellent. All right, y'all. So we are live over here on YouTube. Shout out to YouTube as you guys are coming in. And of course, we're live right over here on TikTok as well. Shout out to y'all. Good morning. Oh my goodness. Wednesday, May 3rd. Got some more of the Lori Vallow Daybell trial to go through. We're going to be listening to the testimony from yesterday because, again, y'all, there's no live streaming of this case, of this trial. There's no live audio, anything like that. The judge said no to any of that stuff. So we only get what happened at the end of each day. Or sorry, what happened that day at the end of each day. So there's no live streaming, unfortunately. However, I do have the audio from yesterday, and specifically, I've got the testimony from Todd Gilbert, who was the neighbor, I'm pretty sure, to Chad Daybell, as a matter of fact. So one of the neighbors testifying. So let's take a listen, y'all. By the way, so we're live streaming in two places right now. Shout out to YouTube. I see some of you guys are coming in. Gloria, what's up? First, thank you so much for being in here. Shout out over here to TikTok as well. Good to see you guys coming in. As you're coming in, y'all, like the video over here. Tap the screen like crazy over here. Make sure you give me a follow if you're new to the channel, if you like true crime stuff. I do these live streams now over on TikTok pretty much every day. YouTube, I'm going to start doing more of them over here because you guys have been asking me to do more streams over on YouTube also. So without any further ado, let's jump in. Once again, y'all, we're listening to the trial audio from yesterday. And good morning, everyone. I see a bunch of good mornings. Good mornings, Patrick. Where's the coffee? No coffee today, but I've got this one again, y'all, the True North. They're good. They're really good. 0 calories, 0 everything. Fantastic. And on TikTok, y'all, thank you for the gifts. Obviously, you guys don't have to do that, but I do appreciate it. Helps to support the channel. We're trying to get those little logos. If you want to, make sure you keep tapping the screen like crazy too. And same thing with YouTube, y'all. I appreciate the super chats. Thank you for that. I'll give you guys shout outs as they come in. All right, let's you have 2 channels going in stereo right now. Amber, that's fantastic. Okay, so let's go. Let's jump in. And again, y'all, this is the neighbor testifying in the Lori Vallow case. All right, let's go. And of course, it's not going to work. Just kidding.
Started at trial?
No.
All right. While you're testifying, please talk right into that microphone. Please use an audible or verbal response to any question asked, and try to avoid speaking over the top of anyone questioning you. That way we'll keep a clear record. With that in mind, Ms. Blake, you can inquire on direct examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would you please state your name and spell it for the record?
Todd Gilbert, and TODD GILBERT.
Do you know an individual named Chad Daybell?
Yes.
And did you know an individual named Tammy or Tamara Daybell?
Yes.
How do you know them?
Mainly, I knew that Chad was an author, wrote books, and when we moved into the area, we got to know him because of that reason. And of course, Tammy was his wife, and so that's how we got to know them.
And was there one of the 2 of them that you interacted with more often?
Yes, Chad.
How often would you see Chad?
At least once a week, sometimes in the yard, most of the time, at least once a week at church.
Y'all, real quick, audio check. It sounds good for everybody. YouTube, it sounds good. TikTok, thumbs up in the chat, y'all, if you can hear it. If you can hear it all right. Nana, thank you for the hand hearts too. Stephanie, thank you for the TikTok logos. Y'all, thank you so much. Again, y'all, you do not have to send the gifts over here on TikTok, but I do appreciate it. Thank you for helping to support the channel. Really, really appreciate it. And same thing over here on YouTube. Y'all, thanks for the super chats. You guys are the best. All right, let's keep on rolling through. And again, y'all, this is the live audio from yesterday's proceedings, because we don't actually get to live stream or listen to the audio during the trial. We only get the audio that was recorded at the end of each day. So that's what we're listening to right now. So this is from yesterday, but this is Todd Gilbert, the Chad Daybell's neighbor, testifying.
And I may have missed it, but did you indicate when you'd moved
Anna,
to into Chad's neighborhood?
Oh, it was March 2017.
Did you meet Chad and Tammy fairly soon after moving there?
Yes, it was within a week.
Did you see Chad outside of church?
Sometimes, not real often, maybe mowing his lawn or something like that most of the time.
And you indicated you knew that Chad was an author. Had you read some of his books before?
Yeah, read some of them, yes.
Did Chad ever discuss his religious beliefs with you?
Sometimes he did. Sometimes we talked mainly about the books that he had written, some of the stuff that he'd apparently, dreams and visions that he'd seen and how they related with some of the characters that was in his books.
And when you say characters in his books, was it your understanding those books were fictional?
Yes, he said they were fictional, patterned after his visions.
Did it appear that he was trying to teach you things or just
Yes.
share his beliefs?
At first, we was just sharing beliefs and just discussing his books. As time went on, he was pushing more that way towards teaching things towards the end there, or 2019.
And did the things that he was trying to teach you resonate with you?
If they were standard LDS church doctrine, it did. If they were not, I was kind of sitting on the fence. I don't know on that.
So you'd listen to him, but you didn't necessarily hold those
Right.
same
I
beliefs.
didn't say usually one way or the other.
Mm.
Do you recall a time in approximately February of 2019 when Chad came to your residence?
Yes.
And do you recall him making any kind of a statement that stuck out to you?
Yes, he made the statement as he was leaving that he says, I don't know if I should tell you this or not, but I've seen a vision that Tammy's going to die and move on before her 50th birthday.
Yup. Y'all. When he started saying that stuff, and we heard somebody else testify this too, that he was it David Warwick, I think it was saying the same thing that Chad was saying. Tammy's time on this earth was like close, like she was close to passing. And yeah, I just remember being like, are you serious? Little bit of a red flag, maybe that you're telling multiple people now that your wife, like you've had these visions that she is just no longer going to be with you, like she's going to pass away. And then if it comes to fruition, you're like, wait, what? That's a little bit strange, y'all. That's a little bit strange. By the way, shout out to everybody watching, y'all. We've got TikTok going over here, so shout out to y'all. We've also got YouTube up here as well, live streaming on YouTube also. So shout out to everybody. Thanks for being in here on TikTok, y'all. If you're new, take a second to hit that follow button, please, and thank you. We hit 50,000 followers on Friday. We're already at like almost 55,000 now. So shout out to y'all. I really appreciate that. Thank you for the gifts as well, y'all. You don't have to do that, but I do appreciate it. We're trying to hit those little TikTok logos, so thank you for that. Keep tapping the screen over here, and shout out to YouTube. Thanks for being here, y'all. Thanks for the super chats, and make sure you hit that like button and subscribe over on the YouTube. Yo, keep playing the audio, Leah. Absolutely, don't worry. I am going to stop though. I mean, it's a reaction, so I'm going to be commenting about stuff. So if you want to listen to just the audio without any interruptions, it's all on YouTube. Just type in Lori Vallow case. You can find all that audio, but I'm 100% going to be stopping and talking. So if that's not your thing, no worries. Kim, thank you so much for the logos. Very, very sweet of you over on TikTok. Very, very, very sweet. Okay, so let's keep going. Y'all. So this is Todd Gilbert, Chad Daybell's neighbor, testifying. And again, this is from yesterday, y'all. So we don't get the audio from each day live. We get it at the end of each day. So let's keep going.
Did you happen to know how old Tammy was at that time?
I didn't, but I figured she was around 47, 48 area, I thought.
And at some point, did you learn of Tammy's passing?
Yes. on the morning of October 19th, 2019, I would usually get up early in the morning and exercise. And so when I come upstairs at around 7 a.m., Chad's daughter had just called Alice to tell her that her mom had just passed on. And so that's when we found out about it.
Did you end up going to the Daybell residence that morning?
Yes, we went there around 8:15 to 8:30 area.
When you got to the residence, did you make any observations of Chad?
Yes, he seemed like he was businesslike, more so than someone had just lost their companion, his wife.
And we heard that 911 call too, y'all. And people don't realize that when you dial 911, it starts recording immediately, not just when the dispatcher picks up. It starts recording immediately, and it's like silence, and then 911, what's your emergency? And then he started like sobbing and crying. Creepy calm, Jamie says. Yeah, it's a little strange. It's a little bit strange. And T, welcome. Thank you for the roses. Y'all, thank you so much for the gifts, y'all. We're trying to hit that logo goal, y'all. 100 TikTok logos. Holy mackerel, it's impossible. All right, let's keep going.
And that things were all pretty well planned out, ready to go for the funeral.
Did that seem odd to you?
Yes.
What?
Yes, it did, because usually you're mourning more than that if your wife passes on as a surprise. Surprises you.
Jesus, he already had the funeral ready to go and everything? Well, y'all, we know too that he also already had ordered Lori Vallow. On YouTube, you don't see it. You see the picture from the video we're listening to. But on TikTok, you see Lori Vallow in the background. Y'all, they already ordered like wedding rings. They already ordered the wedding dress. They ordered all of the stuff to do this like Hawaii beach vacation wedding before Tammy passed. So apparently he already had all of the stuff ready to go for her to be buried and everything too. What? That's bizarre. Lori shopping for wedding dresses. Yeah, that's not. That's crazy, isn't it? Roger says that's not unusual. It's not unusual to have wedding rings already bought and wedding dresses and all that stuff before your wife passes to this new girl that you want to marry. I think that's very strange. Lindsay, hello. Thank you for being here. Y'all, thank you so much for hanging out. Again, y'all, if you're new over here on TikTok, make sure you hit that follow button. Thank you so much for being in here, guys. Keep tapping the screen like crazy. I really appreciate that. Thank you for the gifts too, y'all. Let's see if we can hit that logo, that TikTok logo goal. You don't have to do that though, but I do appreciate it. It does help support the channel. And YouTube, shout out. Thank you for being here as well. I'm live streaming on both platforms right now, so we'll see how that goes. It's been fun though. I see he's missed what age he claimed his wife was good. So 50. He said Chad said he had some vision that his wife was going to pass before the age of 50. That's what he said to more than one person, because this is the second person we've heard testify that's what he said. Lindsay, thank you so much for the logos. Very sweet of you guys. Y'all, thank you for that. Let's see if we can hit that goal. And Galaxy Gang, check in. Where are you guys at? All right, let's keep on going.
And you said you arrived there, and correct me if I'm getting this wrong, but around possibly 8:30 that morning?
Yeah. Yes.
And so she had just been pronounced dead shortly before that. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you recall Chad making any statements to you that day or having any conversation with him?
Yes, he referred to, I said to Chad that I'd forgot all about him telling us that she was going to die until it actually happened. And so I said to him, well, man, I guess it happened. And he says, yes, it did. He turned his back away from his kids that was there so they couldn't see him, and kind of whispered that to me, that he said that. And And that's probably the biggest thing that I remember that day.
My God. Becky, thank you for the logos. Lisa, thank you for the logos. Central New York in the house. Shout out. Where's everybody from, guys? Type in where you're from. Yeah, y'all, Chad Daybell, yeah. And then who was it that just said they need to tie Lori into this? Where was that? Where did I read that? Yeah. We'll see. I mean, y'all, the biggest news so far this week is that they found, well, I guess it was Friday that we found this out, but we listened to it on Monday. But they found Alex Cox, which is Lori Vallow's brother. They found his right palm print, and then they found his left pinky finger on the bags that JJ was buried with. And also, there was duct tape on those bags, and there was a single hair that was found on the bags, and that got sent out to have DNA testing done by I think her name was Keely Coleman, the forensic scientist, and she pulled the DNA from that hair and was able to compare it against Tylee Ryan. She found out it was not Tylee Ryan's hair. Then she ran it against Melanie Gibb. She found out that it was not Melanie Gibb. She could rule out both of them. And then she ran it against Lori Vallow and came back with a 1 in 71 billion% chance that that hair came from Lori Vallow versus just some other random person in the public. So 1 in 71 billion% chance that it was Lori Vallow's hair that was stuck to the adhesive side of one of those pieces of duct tape. So, I mean, that's not looking very good for Ms. Vallow there. But that's kind of the biggest news right now that's come out of these this week of testimony. And then now here's the neighbor of Chad Daybell talking about how, well, and the second person, y'all, that said, well, Chad said that she was going to pass before she was 50. She ends up doing that. And then initially, this is going to be, they buried her, and this was natural causes. And we heard from the coroner that said that and why she said that. But there wasn't an autopsy done. So then when they start investigating a little bit more, and they're like, this doesn't really add up. She's only 49. She is seemingly healthy. So they exhume her body. They do an autopsy. And we listen to that doctor, the forensic pathologist, say, no, it definitely was not natural causes. She died from asphyxiation, which means somebody stopped her from breathing. So, and here's Chad saying, well, I saw this vision and she was going to pass, and then she does. And the neighbor's like, well, that's strange. That's really strange. So that's where we're at right now. Y'all, if you're just tuning in, take a second on TikTok. Hey, hit that follow button, please, and thank you. My name is Patrick. I do true crime lives like this every single day. And today I thought, why not do it over on YouTube as well? So shout out to everybody on YouTube watching. Hit that subscribe button and hit that like button, please, and thank you. But y'all, huge shout out for being here. Keep tapping the screen like crazy. Thank you for the super chats, and thank you for the gifts over here on TikTok, y'all. You do not have to do that, but I really appreciate the support. Thank you so much. In fact, we hit that goal pretty quickly. Let's do the finger hearts, y'all. Shout out to y'all. Hit me with those finger hearts if you want to. Okay, so let's keep going, y'all. Again, this is the trial audio from yesterday, because we can't listen in live or watch live because the judge said no to any live stream cameras or live stream like that. So we only get the audio each day at the end of that day. So this is what happened yesterday. And this is Todd Gilbert, Chad Daybell's neighbor, testifying on the stand right now. And this is still the prosecution questioning him. And Marissa, what's up? Good to see you. Amber, Carrie, Mark, Kimba over in the YouTube chat. Thanks for being here, y'all. And if you're watching on YouTube, give me a thumbs up if it sounds good. Everybody's saying it sounds really good on YouTube. And let me know if you guys want me to keep doing this over here as well. And TikTok, I love you guys. So let's keep going.
And when you asked, so I guess it happened, were you referring back to the vision he told you about that Tammy would die?
Yes.
Strange.
And you said he turned away from his kids. Did he indicate if he'd ever shared with his kids that their mother was going to die?
He did say that he had never mentioned that to him.
Yeah, I wonder why. Aries, thank you so much. Martha, thank you so much. Aries, again, thank you so much. Lori, thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Jay Love in the house. Thank you for the rose. Y'all, I appreciate it. Lori, thank you so much for the finger hearts, y'all. Unbelievable. You guys don't have to send those gifts, but I really appreciate that. And if you're new on TikTok, y'all hit that follow button. My name's Patrick. If you like true crime content, welcome to the channel. Missouri Proud, thank you for the hanging lights too.
And I don't think that they knew it.
Do you recall if he told you anything regarding how Tammy had died?
He mentioned that she had got up about midnight, had a coughing spell, and threw up in the bathroom. And she went back to bed, and he had figured that she had died around 2 a.m. He mentioned to us that he thought she had an embolism, and that she had passed away around that time, and that around 5:30, 6 a.m. that she had fell out of bed, and that he wanted Garth to come and help lift her back up upon the bed, and that she was already dead at that time.
And had you made observations of Tammy? Would you see her at church as well?
Yes.
Did you ever notice anything with regard to her appearing to have failing health?
No.
Did you make observations of Chad and Tammy together when you would see them?
Yes, when we first moved into the ward, they sat very close up to the front and was together as a family. As time went on, especially from first part of 2019, they would slowly move them back further towards the back. And so about June of 2019, they were almost clear to the back. They seemed like they were a little distant from each other from what we had noticed before. And that Chad was talking less to me about stuff. And that he just says that people that talked about preparation was kind of getting a little old. And so everybody's taking a break.
And on the morning of October 19th, 2019, did you end up leaving and coming back to his residence that day?
Which day was that again?
Oh, on October 19th, the day of Tamara's death.
Yes, we asked them if they wanted breakfast. So we went to McDonald's and bought breakfast for them and brought it back. And at that time, there was more people that had arrived from the ward to give their condolences. And so we just left the food on the kitchen cabinet, and Garth said that was okay. So, and then we left at that point.
At some point.
Thank you for the finger hearts. Y'all, thank you for the gifts over on TikTok. Y'all are amazing. Thank you for the love. We're trying to hit that little goal if you want to. Again, y'all don't have to, but I do appreciate it. If you're new here, though, make sure you hit that follow button, please. And thank you, especially if you like true crime content, because I've been doing these live streams pretty much every day on TikTok. In fact, yesterday we live streamed for like 8 hours over here. So huge shout out to y'all. Thanks for hanging out. Keep tapping that screen too. Let's go for 25K on the likes. And shout out to YouTube as well. Live streaming on YouTube also. And Marissa, yes, that's exactly. Yeah, they were all, or majority of them were involved with the LDS Church. Yep, absolutely. Patrick, you need to be at CrimeCon. Missouri Proud, let me know. Let me know. Oh my gosh, Metapsychics in the house. Shout out Metapsychics. Good to see y'all. We need to get back out and do some investigating 100%. Kimberly, thank you for the finger hearts. Brown-eyed girl, thank you for the finger hearts. So sweet. Lori, thank you so much. 80% there. Y'all are incredible. I miss y'all too. United Peace. So this one I'm listening to from East Idaho News. Shout out to East Idaho News. Really good about putting up the audio as quickly as possible. YouTube, that's who the video you guys see up here. That's who that's from. And the link is in the bio if you guys want to check out the full video without any interruptions and all that stuff. What happened to her brother? So Lori's brother actually passed allegedly from natural causes as well, y'all. But what was strange about his passing is that the day before Lori Vallow's brother passes on, he tells his wife, Zulema, that's her name, Zulema, they'd only been married for 2 weeks, but he tells her that he's really scared that he's going to be the fall guy for Lori and Chad. And then the next day, y'all, he passes away. That's a little sus, especially because, well, like Charles Vallow, the fourth husband, he gets unalived by Alex, supposedly. And y'all, on YouTube, sometimes you can say words, but on TikTok, there's words I can't say live. So I have to say unalived and things like that because they get mad about that kind of stuff. But supposedly in self-defense, but then now that case is reopened because they think that it wasn't self-defense, that it was actually a homicide. Yeah, there's just a lot of, and even, I mean, right now we're listening, Tammy Daybell passes. Chad tried to say, oh, she was having seizures and she was fainting and all this stuff. Turns out, no, somebody stopped her from breathing. It wasn't natural causes. Somebody stopped her from breathing. So yeah, super sad. This case is so sad. I mean, it's vile what they did, what these people did and what they were capable of doing. Unthinkable. TikTok, we hit that goal too. Oh my goodness. Y'all, TikTok, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for the love. I'm going to reset that, but let's keep listening. And again, y'all, this is the audio from yesterday because we don't get live streams of this trial. Unfortunately, we only get the audio at the end of the day for that day. So this is from yesterday, and this is Todd Gilbert, Chad Daybell's neighbor, testifying.
Did Chad talk to you about not staying in his residence, that he was going to move?
Yes, after we had been to the funeral in Springville, and it was the day after they had the memorial, he did mention to us that he couldn't stay there any longer. I thought that was a little odd, and that he had a friend in Rexburg on Pioneer Road that had an apartment that he was going to move into, and that this friend was not there very much.
Little bit little sus there too, because you guys know who he's talking about. Who's the friend? I'll give you a hint. Well, I guess YouTube, you can't see that, but Lori Vallow, y'all.
So it would work out pretty good for him.
Lori, yeah.
Do you recall if he indicated who the friend was?
He never did say a name.
And you attended Tammy's funeral in Springville, Utah?
Yes.
Did you make any observations of Chad at the funeral?
He actually seemed pretty up-minded. We was around the casket and looked at and seen Tammy in the casket and that, and around the family, and he didn't seem real sad. I thought for some, your wife had just passed away 3 days earlier, and he seemed like he could handle everything okay. And then in the funeral, when he spoke, which personally I thought was odd too, because mostly people don't do that when their wife dies or spouse dies.
User 3724 up-minded. I think it means just like his spirits were up. Like he didn't seem low. He didn't seem down. He wasn't like depressed. He was just kind of like, hello, a little bit like, I guess happy, not happy, but just uplifted, upbeat. Yeah.
And he did show some emotions, and he spoke for quite some time, I remember. And so, yeah, he did. I would say for your wife just dying, he did a pretty good job. So.
And when you say for his wife just dying, he did a pretty good job, would you have expected him to be more emotional?
Yes, I would.
At some time after that, after you'd returned from Springville, did you end up reaching out to Chad?
Yes, I believe it was about 2 or 3 days after the memorial they had. Alice and myself thought, well, maybe we ought to call Chad, go see him, see how he's doing, see how he's getting along in that apartment all alone.
What a great neighbor, y'all. Like what like a just wholesome, good guy. They brought food. He was sad. He was at the funeral. A few days afterwards, he's like, let's go check on him, since he said that he was alone in this apartment. That's the kind of neighbor you want. These neighbors don't exist nowadays. Well, I guess they do exist, but they're few and far between. It seems like nowadays, unfortunately. Y'all, by the way, shout out for being here. Guys, if you're new on TikTok, hit that follow button real quick. I do true crime live streams every single day. Shout out to YouTube as well, guys. We're doing streaming on both today. So shout out to YouTube, guys. It's good to see you guys. Thank you for the gifts over here on TikTok. You guys do not have to do that. I set it to the fires right now. I think it's 250 fires, y'all. Impossible. There's no way we could hit that. No possible way. But y'all, I really appreciate it though. Appreciate it. Thank you for the love and thank you for the support. But hit that follow button, y'all, if you're new here. I really, really appreciate that. Yeah, let's keep on going. And by the way, my name's Patrick. YouTube, you guys probably know that. TikTok, most of you know that. But my name's Patrick. Welcome to the family. I appreciate you guys being here. Keep tapping the screen too. Let's go for 50K on the likes over here. Already 28,000 likes on TikTok. Where's YouTube at, y'all? Where are you guys at?
And we thought we'd take him pizza. So we gave him a call and
they brought him pizza. They didn't just go to see if he was doing all right. They brought him pizza.
he says, "Oh no, I'll just come over and see you within an hour or so."
And he did not invite you to the residence that he was staying at?
No, he did not.
I wonder why. Laura, thank you for the fires. Darcy, thanks for the rose. Charlotte, thanks for the fires. Jennifer, thanks for the fires. Laura, even more fires. Thank y'all so much. Hello, I just subbed on YouTube. I'll go like it. Thank you. Y'all, if you're on TikTok, make sure you do go over and subscribe to the YouTube. Same name. It's The Haunted Side on YouTube. There's also links in the bio over here too, and like the little YouTube button next to like the message button on the TikTok profile. Head over, give me a subscribe, please, and thank you. We're almost at 200,000 subscribers on YouTube, so shout out to y'all. I appreciate that. And thanks for the follows over here. All right, let's keep on going.
Did he in fact end up coming to your residence?
Yes, he came to our house about 6:30, I believe. Alice had just made some cookies, and so he was sitting there eating the cookies at the table.
And when he was there,
they're making him cookies too. You know, those were homemade. Like, I wonder what kind they were. Those are good cookies too. Somebody said earlier that the defense, when they do the cross-examination, they better be nice to this guy. And I'm going to second that even more now. Because he's been kind of crass to a lot of these people. He's been kind of rude, borderline rude to some of these witnesses. But he better be super nice to this gentleman. Pizza, cookies, McDonald's breakfast. What?
Do you recall him telling you anything?
Yes, he mentioned, we asked him how he was getting along. He said he was doing pretty good, and that he had a girlfriend, he told us, and he seemed like he was hesitant to tell us who it was. But then he mentioned that her name was Lori Vallow, and I thought to myself, well, I've heard her name before because I heard her on podcast speaking with Melanie Gibb and Jason Mao a couple of times. So I was familiar with her.
Y'all, we tried to listen to, because they played that podcast. They played the audio from that, or from one of the podcasts with both of them. We tried to listen to that last night, and I don't know what they were thinking, or whose house it was at, or if they decided to just do the podcast literally at the zoo. But there was birds and dogs and like animals going crazy in that thing. And I was thinking, like, you're trying to do a podcast and you have literally all it sounded like they were at the zoo. It was, we couldn't even listen to it. After a few minutes, I was like, I'm sorry, y'all, but I can't listen. I can't handle the constant noise. I can't even hear or understand what they're saying. It was pretty bad. But if you do want to check that out, y'all, shout out to East Idaho News. That's where we're listening to this audio from. He posted that audio separately as well. If you want to give it a listen, go ahead. But just so you know, it was very hard to hear and very hard to pay attention to with all of and y'all, if anybody has birds, you guys know what I'm talking about. It didn't sound like it was one. It sounded like they had many. So they were going absolutely haywire. But anyways, y'all, thanks for being here. A lot of new people over here on TikTok. Y'all, take a second. My name's Patrick. If you like true crime content, hit that follow button, please, and thank you. We're on the way to 100,000 followers on TikTok, y'all. I've only been over here for like 3 or 4 months now, so huge shout out to y'all. I really appreciate that. Thank you for the gifts too. You guys do not have to do that, but I do appreciate it. Thanks for supporting the channel. Same thing over here on YouTube, y'all. The super chats, thank you so much for those. I really appreciate that. Teresa, speaking of which, thanks for the fires. So sweet. So let's keep going, y'all. So this is the audio from yesterday's testimonies, and this is specifically Todd Gilbert, Chad Daybell's neighbor, testifying in the case.
Already. So.
And you indicated that this visit would have taken place 2 to 3 days after the memorial.
Yeah.
And the memorial was the day after her funeral.
Right.
And the funeral was 3 days after her death.
Yes.
So this is a week or a little bit more than a week after Tammy
Yeah,
had
I
died.
believe it was probably the following Saturday or Monday.
He's already talking about his new girlfriend. Elena, thank you so much for the fires. Y'all, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. We might even hit that goal. I thought it was impossible. We're at 60 and we got 2 out of 250. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for that. Y'all, make sure you hit that follow button too if you're new here. And YouTube, hit that like button and make sure to subscribe, please. And thank you. All right, let's keep going.
And so about a week later, a little over a week, Chad was telling you that he had a girlfriend.
Yes.
Did he say anything about his girlfriend?
He said that she was beautiful and that they were going.
That they'd already ordered wedding rings and wedding dress and were planning on getting married in Hawaii. I wonder if he left those details out, y'all.
That she was going to be his second half of his life, I guess, wife, you might say, and for his mission that was left on the earth.
And was Lori with him on that occasion?
No.
Did you end up meeting Lori?
Yes, Chad mentioned that Lori and a couple of friends that was with her was here in the area, and if we would like to meet her. And so we worked in the temple as officiators of Rexburg Temple, and he said that they would be in the temple that Tuesday afternoon doing some work, all 4 of them. And so would we like to meet her?
And did you in fact end up meeting her on that occasion?
Yes, about 5:30 when we were waiting in prayer meeting. Chad come up and tapped me on the shoulder, and we went out in the hallway, and there was
thank you, Mary.
Chad and Lori and Melanie Boudreau and another lady that I'm not sure who it was.
And Melanie Boudreau is Lori's niece, y'all.
And did you speak with them for very long that day?
Probably no more than 5 minutes or so. We didn't have much time because our meeting was about ready to start.
Ms. Blake, sorry to interrupt. Can you wait just a second? We had a little technical issue we're going to sort out for a moment.
And yet another reason why I think that they didn't live stream this trial. I mean, the judge said no to live streaming, y'all, which is why we only get the audio. But from the testimonies that we've heard, there have been so many technical issues with all kinds of stuff. The projector is broken. Laser pointers were going out. Like there was all this courthouse must just be plagued with technical issues. So the judge was like, no, we're not live streaming to protect the witnesses too, y'all, because the witnesses are not allowed to see each other's testimony in this trial. And so it was to protect that as well. And plus, I mean, this case, the notoriety is like massive, right? This is like international news. So he probably was trying to keep it contained as much as possible so that witnesses and people giving testimony wouldn't hear each other. But on top of that, I guarantee you there's just like little gremlins or something running around this courthouse messing with everything, it seems like. Y'all. And real quick, there's a bunch of people, a bunch of new people over here on TikTok as well. Y'all, if you're new here, take a second, hit that follow button, please. My name's Patrick. If you like true crime content, I do true crime live streams over here every single day. So shout out. I really, really, really appreciate that. Share Bear says, or zombies. Oh no, zombies. Y'all are ridiculous. But thanks for the follows, y'all. And also thanks for the gifts. We're trying to hit 250 fires. We're at 76. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much. But yeah, let's keep going. Take another listen or keep on listening to the testimony from yesterday, y'all. Todd Gilbert on the stand. This is Chad Daybell's neighbor. And let's see what he's got. Gabby, good to see you. Happy you're here. Yes, fantastic. And y'all, if you're over here on TikTok, make sure you go subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Especially when more of the trials, like when Brian Koberger from the Idaho 4, when that goes to court, hopefully that is live streamed, and I'll be able to live stream that from YouTube like we're doing right now on YouTube. Shout out to y'all. All right, let's keep on going. Megs, thank you for 27 of TikTok's finest fires. You're so sweet. Thank you guys so much. Amelia, Patrick, read my comment. That one? I'll try to find it. All right, let's keep going.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it's. Okay, thank you.
Fast forward just a little
All right,
bit.
apologies for the interruption. You can continue, Ms. Blake.
Okay, here we go.
I'll turn my mic on. On a later date or on another occasion, did Chad and Lori come to your residence?
Yes, I probably about 2 or 3 nights later, I can't remember, something like that. They both came to our home.
Y'all, if you're asking what this trial is about, so it's the Lori Vallow trial, the Doomsday Mom. If you don't have any idea who Lori Vallow is, take a second. A good place to start is on Netflix. There's a docu-series, 3-part series. It's called Sins of Our Mother. It does a really, really good job of kind of like explaining everybody kind of involved in this case. She is on trial right now, and then the 5th husband, Chad Daybell, who this is his neighbor that's speaking right now about him and his first wife's passing. It does a really good job of kind of breaking that down, but he's also he's not on trial yet, but he's charged with these crimes also. So he's believed to be involved, and his trial, I read, it might be closer to like October of this year, but we don't know for sure because they have been postponed quite a bit, but we'll figure out hopefully pretty soon. Justice is served for him as well. And y'all, thank you so much for the fires, y'all. Unbelievable. You guys are so sweet over here on TikTok. Let's hit that goal. We're close, y'all. Almost halfway there. All right, so let's keep on going. And again, y'all, this is Todd Gilbert, Chad Daybell's neighbor, testifying. And
did you have a conversation with them?
Yes, we spoke about how they were getting along and how things were going for them, and that seemed to be going good at that point.
Did you make any observations of their interactions with each other?
Yes, probably the biggest thing I noticed was that they were, to me, it seemed like they were acting like a couple of teenagers that were first in love, and they were holding hands and sitting real close to each other. And
he's talking about Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow, y'all.
Chad was rubbing her leg, and I just thought that was odd for your spouse just passed within a week and a half.
A little bit.
Had you ever seen Chad act like that with Tammy?
No.
Do you recall talking to them about their plans for a future together?
I love fishing. Yeah, this is Chad Daybell's neighbor, Todd Gilbert.
Yes, they mentioned that they would be returning to Hawaii to probably live permanently, and that Lori had lived there already in the past, off and on.
Spoiler, they don't, y'all.
And that he had a friend that wanted him to help write a book, and so that he was going to go over there and help write the book.
Did he indicate if Lori was going to go with him?
Yes, I think, yeah, yes.
Did they talk about wanting to get married in the future?
Yes, they were talking about that they would get married. The words that I remember is that when Christ told them that they would get married, that they would.
Wow. And keep in mind, y'all, they had already ordered wedding rings and wedding dress and the shirt that he was wearing and all the wedding pictures and all the stuff. It had already been ordered at this point. 5 days before Tammy passed is when it was ordered. And by the way, y'all, thanks for the gifts, y'all, over on TikTok. I really appreciate it. Coming up close to hitting that fire goal. Take a second if you want to. Obviously, you don't have to, but it does help support the channel. So I appreciate y'all. and a bunch of new people over here too. So hit that follow button if you like true crime content. My name's Patrick. Welcome to the family. And get to know the people down here in the chat. There's almost 700 of you guys watching over here. So huge shout out to y'all. Let's keep on going.
And do you recall if there was any conversation regarding
Carol, thank you.
what had happened to Lori's spouse?
Yes, Alice was asking her, so you've been married before, and she did mention that she had had a husband and that he had died in December of 2018 of a heart attack.
And the lies keep coming, y'all. She told a bunch of people that Lori Vallow told a bunch of people that her fourth husband, Charles Vallow, had passed of a heart attack, which is not true. He actually passed because Lori Vallow's brother shot him, allegedly in self-defense, but that case has been reopened now as well. But definitely not a heart attack. And she actually even told Lori Vallow, I think I remember hearing this, she told her kids and even Charles Vallow's kids from his first marriage, that he had a heart attack when that was not the case. And then they ended up finding out later. I think her oldest son, Colby Ryan, Lori Vallow's oldest son, she initially said heart attack, and he found out that he had been shot. And he was like, what the hell? So lies on top of lies on top of lies on top of lies. And here she is again telling somebody, oh, I had a husband, but he died of a heart attack in 2018. Wow.
Of their marriage.
And she indicated that he died in December.
Yes.
Do you recall any conversations or statements made regarding Lori's daughter?
Yes, we asked her if she had had any children, and she said that she'd had many, and that Chad spoke up and says that she had a daughter that just passed on. And so we didn't really ever get a straight answer of how many children she did have.
No. Oh man, y'all. And that's I mean, the daughter that Lori Vallow had was Tylee Ryan, and she was the one that they found her remains buried in Chad Daybell's property next to a pet cemetery and a fire pit. And y'all, we listened to the forensic pathologist talk about it. Y'all, she had been taken apart and burned to try to conceal her body. And he said, oh, yeah, she had a daughter, but she had passed. She had passed. Oh my God. It's y'all, this case is sick. These people are sick. It's vile what they did. Unthinkable. And senseless, y'all, senseless. She was 16, about to be 17. She was not that far away from being out of the house and on her own. And there was other family members that said they would have taken care of her, no questions asked. But Chad believed that they were zombies, or allegedly believed that they were zombies, and convinced other people they were zombies and needed to be taken out. Y'all, unbelievable. By the way, this is the audio from yesterday. We're listening to Todd Gilbert. This is Chad Daybell's neighbor, Todd Gilbert testifying. And again, this is from yesterday because we don't get to listen to the audio live. So right now, court is in session, but we won't hear what they're saying or get that audio until the end of the day. So, but we're going to listen to this testimony for now. Shout out to everybody here. We're live streaming on YouTube. Shout out to YouTube. It's good to see you guys. Make sure you hit that like button, please, and thank you. And also over here on TikTok, shout out to y'all. Wonderful to see you guys. If you're new here, hit that follow button, please, and thank you. Tap the screen like crazy. Let's go for 100K on the likes. And I really appreciate the gifts, y'all. You do not have to do that, but I do appreciate it. Thanks for helping to support the channel. Very, very sweet of you guys. Let's see if we can hit that fire goal. Y'all hit me with those fires real quick. All right, let's keep going. Todd Gilbert's testimony. This is still the prosecution questioning him, y'all.
Did Lori correct him or say anything different when Chad mentioned she'd had a daughter that had passed on?
Not that I can recall.
And Lori never mentioned having a daughter living?
Not that I can recall.
Did either of them ever mention Lori having a minor son?
No.
Y'all, she did. That's the other thing too. I mean, most of you guys, if you're following the case, you obviously know that. But for the new people, not only the 16-year-old daughter, biological daughter of Lori Vallow passed, or didn't pass, was unalived. She had a 7-year-old adopted son named JJ Vallow, and he was adopted because her fourth husband, his nephew, so his sister's son, had a child that they weren't able to take care of, and so they adopted him. So he was 7 years old, adopted by the fourth husband and Lori Vallow. And the fourth husband is the one that was shot and unalived by her brother, Lori's brother. And the 7-year-old was nonverbal autistic. And he was also found buried in the yard in a shallow grave on the Chad Daybell property. And we listened to the forensic pathologist talk about the manner and the cause of his unalive, JJ Vallow, the 7-year-old. And y'all, when I say that was heartbreaking, I'm talking like absolutely sickening what was done to that poor child. 7 years old. Y'all, unthinkable. Unthinkable. Rest in peace, both of them, all of them, everybody in this case. The victims in this case, rest in peace, because I can't even imagine. And all we can hope for is that the prosecution continues to present the evidence in the very best way possible, and that justice is very swiftly served to everybody involved in this, because it is unthinkable, senseless and unthinkable what happened. Okay, so let's keep on listening. And again, y'all, this is the Chad Daybell's neighbor, Todd Gilbert, testifying, and still the prosecution is questioning him.
Do you recall them coming to your residence on another occasion, a later occasion?
Yes, they made another visit before they left to go to Hawaii, and before they went to around Thanksgiving time, they were going to take Chad's family to Disneyland in California. And at that time, they mentioned to us that they'd got married, and that they showed us all of their wedding pictures.
Oh, Lord.
Did you know they were going to get married?
Just from what they'd said earlier, that they would, one of them, one day. And of course,
what is it when Christ says to get married is what he said that they said?
I understand they got married November 5th, and Alice talked to Emma on November 6th, and Emma told her that
I'll
she
object, Your Honor,
was
to
married.
hearsay.
That's a hearsay statement.
Yeah, that's hearsay, unfortunately. And y'all keep in mind, the defense is just doing their job. I mean, they're supposed to discredit witnesses and testimony and evidence as best they can, and that was hearsay. And real quick, y'all, he's talking about the wedding pictures. TikTok, ready? Boom, there you go. Keep in mind, this is after the kids had passed, after Tammy had passed. This is them just on the beach in Hawaii, and I'll move out of the way so you can see it. So on the beach in Hawaii, smiling away. YouTube, sorry, I can't put that picture up, but just Google Lori Vallow wedding pics, and it will turn your stomach when you think about what had happened previous to these pictures taken. And we listened to the phone call real quick. We listened to the phone call between Lori Vallow and her sister when the bodies were found on Chad Daybell's property, and the sister is freaking out. What the hell is wrong with you? Why were the kids found like this? Why were they thrown away like garbage? And just, I mean, heartbreaking, y'all. Absolutely heartbreaking. And she tells them, she says, why did you get married? Why were you dancing and smiling in pictures in Hawaii when your kids were like buried in the yard the way that they were found? Why were you doing? And she's like kind of like like just doesn't really care, no remorse, just like, what are you talking about? Like weird. And She literally says, like, the sister, why are you smiling in these pictures? And she's like, well, it was my wedding. It's my wedding pictures. I'm going to smile in my wedding, like justifying it. Like, well, it doesn't matter about what happened to them. I mean, I'm obviously going to smile in my wedding pictures. Come on now. What? Hold on. Justifying what happened, like smiling in pictures and stuff just because it's your wedding, after this had happened to your children. And his first wife, Tammy, had passed away as well. Just no big deal. I mean, why would I be sad that my kids had passed away? Like, it was my wedding. Y'all, that's what I'm saying. I cannot stress to you how I can't with these people. And sorry, YouTube, I know I'm pointing to the air on YouTube. But on TikTok, you guys can see the wedding picture. But God, it hurts me. It hurts me. It physically hurts me to have to hear these people when they talk about that stuff. It's my wedding. Of course I'm gonna smile. Give me a break. Okay. Let's keep on going, y'all. Again, we're listening to Todd Gilbert. This is Chad Daybell's, I guess, former neighbor, because he doesn't live there anymore. He lives in jail. And my speculation, my own thoughts and opinions, he should spend the rest of his life in jail. Same with this one, Lori Vallow, because let's judge the room. There's a lot of new people. Y'all, Lori Vallow specifically, do y'all think she is guilty or not guilty? So type in the chat, either on YouTube or TikTok, y'all. Do you think Lori Vallow is guilty or not guilty? Here's the thing. If you think she is guilty, do you think Lori Vallow only conspired? So she planned it, was the ringleader, something like that? Or do you think that she actually committed the crimes as well? Do you think she actually assisted in taking those lives? Let me know what you guys think. I'm definitely seeing a lot of guilties over here on TikTok. Guilty. And yes, for conspiracy. Yes, the puppet master. Yes, was involved. Yes, but Alex did the dirty work. That's definitely one that we hear a lot. That Alex, I mean, his palm print and left pinky print were found on the bags that JJ was buried in. So guilty, committed the crimes. Guilty, help for sure. 100% guilty. Leader of it. I think she unalived JJ. 50-50. Both did the same amount of work. Here's the thing, y'all. Even if Lori Vallow specifically is found of just conspiracy to unalive any of these people, which the evidence is pretty strong right now, especially the kids with the hair found on the tape that was buried with JJ. Conspiracy to unalive someone carries the same sentence. It's still life in prison without parole. So even if the jury is like, well, we don't know if she did it for sure, but we know that they find her guilty of conspiring. Adios. That's a big for Lori Vallow. She is gone. She is gone away for good. Let's see what happens, y'all. I keep listening to the evidence, y'all, and I keep live streaming the audio for y'all. And from everything that we've heard thus far, I'm gonna go with, I think that beyond a shadow of a doubt, she conspired for sure. They were in it together. Yeah. I mean, honestly, yeah. So the unalive, and y'all, I have to say unalive penalty, at least on TikTok, because there's certain words you can't say when you're live. So the unalive penalty. So Chad Daybell is still facing that. So he could still be unalived by the state of Idaho. However, Lori Vallow, her defense team actually had that taken off of the table. So she is not facing that. She is facing life in prison without parole. Because one, she had to be mentally rehabilitated to even stand trial. So her trial kept getting pushed back because she had to be mentally rehabilitated because they said that she wasn't mentally competent enough to understand the charges being brought against her. And some other reasons too. And I'll keep going if you guys want me to, but one of the other reasons was that in the state of Idaho, and I didn't even realize that this was a thing, but the prisons don't actually keep on hand what is used to do the injections to unalive someone. They have to have a company make that in a certain time frame. And supposedly, allegedly in Idaho, there's not enough companies that actually do that make those kind of chemicals. So they've had it happen in the past where once the warrant is signed, the unalive warrant is signed, they have 5 days to administer that and that person to pass, or it has to be rescheduled. And they've had it happen where it wasn't available in time. And so the state argued that, well, Idaho is even trying to do this. They're trying to, unalive people and can't. And that was another reason that it was ultimately taken off of the table. Breaking news in that department, though, real quick, y'all. The state of Idaho passed a bill, and they are now the 5th state in the United States to say that if that happens and they cannot get the chemicals they need in time to unalive that inmate, they now face the firing squad. So in reality, if this one, Chad Daybell, is convicted and sentenced to unalive, if they can't get the chemicals in time, he could face the firing squad. Same thing with Brian Koberger, the Idaho 4, the guy charged with the Idaho 4 slayings. He could also, if it's kind of like very, very unlikely, right? Because they have to be convicted. Chad Daybell. I honestly, my speculation, he will be convicted. But then they have to not get the. It's unlikely, but it could happen. It could happen. I see a lot of people on YouTube saying guilty of sin, shoot away. Fire. What? A firing squad, y'all. So think line of people with firearms, the inmate that was sentenced to unalive a little ways away, and typically the majority of people don't have a live round. They have a blank, but they don't know that. And there's usually 1 to 2 live rounds in one of the firearms. But no, they don't know who. Nobody knows who exactly has the live round. So when they're fired at, it's not known for sure which one of the people that's on the firing squad had the live rounds that actually caused the inmates passing. Y'all, craziness. This case is bizarre. Jess says, off topic, but your eyes are really cool. Oh, thank you. I grew them myself. Okay, keep it on, y'all. And again, let me say thank you for being here. If you're new on TikTok, hit that follow button, please, and thank you. YouTube, shout out to y'all. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you so much, y'all. Thank you for the gifts over here on TikTok as well. We're trying to get 250 fires, y'all. Take a second and hit that fire goal if you want to, guys. You don't have to, obviously. Thank you for being here, though. But again, y'all, shout out and thank you for the moments of levity during the live streams, because this case, if I'm sitting here doing the research on this case by myself in the office, it can get pretty depressing, pretty dark quickly. So thank y'all for hanging out with me and letting me be a little goofy at times too. I really appreciate that. Okay, so let's keep on going, y'all. So this is the Lori Vallow trial. The Doomsday Mom, Lori Vallow, and this is specifically Chad Daybell, the 5th husband, who is also charged with these crimes. This is his neighbor, former neighbor, testifying, and it's still the prosecution asking questions right now. There hasn't been any defense cross as of yet, but let's see what we got.
November 5th, and Alice talked to Emma on November 6th, and Emma told her
I'll
that
object, Your Honor.
was
Did you
married.
say?
That's a hearsay statement, so that any answer there will be stricken, not to be considered by the jurors, please. And Ms. Blake, you can ask another question.
Thank you. So Chad and Lori showed you their wedding photos when they visited you.
Yes.
And when did you say that visit took place again?
It was before they went to California on Thanksgiving time.
And that was in 2019.
Yes, 2019.
Heavenly Ward, thank you for the fire. Very sweet of you. Woman Wise, thank you for the 10 fires. Very sweet of you guys. We're getting close, y'all. We're like 30 away, 31 fires away, y'all. Thank you for that. Thank you for the love. Thank you for supporting the channel. And Galaxy Gang, where are you guys at? Check in.
And you said they were taking Chad's family to Disneyland.
Yes, his married kids and the ones that weren't married, all of them that was there.
Did they ever mention taking Lori's kids with them?
No,
Did you ever see Chad and Lori with any children belonging to Lori Vallow?
no.
Wow.
Did Chad ever tell you how his kids felt about his being with Lori?
I'll object, Your Honor. That question calls for hearsay from Chad's kids.
I ask if Chad told him, if Chad ever said how his kids felt.
Yes, the objection's overruled.
He mentioned several times that they were feeling good about it, that they were missing Tammy, their mom, but they felt good about Lori and moving on with her. He told us that several times.
Did Chad ever say anything about how Tammy felt or would feel about his relationship with Lori?
He did mention to me 2 or 3 times that she visited him in spirit and was fine with everything, and that her mission was complete on this earth and that she was to move on.
Oh, wow. Sandra, Patrick, this is awesome. I didn't have any idea you did this too awesome job. Thank you, Sandra. I appreciate that. The true crime, y'all. If you're watching on TikTok, I do paranormal stuff too, like paranormal investigations, and that's mainly what the YouTube channel has been for years now, 3 or 4 years. But I had another channel that I was doing true crime, and people were like, Patrick, don't even separate it. True crime and paranormal really go hand in hand, because most of the places I was investigating, it was because of some kind of true crime, something that happened there. So I just kind of started blending the two, and the response has been incredible. You guys really, really enjoy it. So shout out, y'all. And YouTube, I'll be doing a lot more of the live streams like this over here as well. And TikTok, make sure you guys head over to YouTube and give me a subscribe over there too. Especially because when we start listening and watching more trials where the actual trial is live streamed, we'll be watching that on the channel over here, because on TikTok it's hard to watch video while you're live streaming. They haven't fixed that yet. Hopefully they do, but that's what we'll be doing a lot more on YouTube as well. So shout out to y'all. I really appreciate it. Thanks for subscribing to YouTube. Thanks for following too on TikTok, y'all. I really appreciate y'all. And y'all, we're so close to that fire goal, like 20 something away. Thank you for that. So amazing. Keep tapping the screen too. Let's go for 100K on the likes, y'all. Please and thank you. All right. And again, y'all, this is Todd Gilbert, Chad Daybell's former neighbor, testifying right now.
And and comfort her kids.
I appreciate you.
That they were fine, or that she thought it was fine.
And after that visit around Thanksgiving in November, did Chad ever return to your residence at a later time?
I can't recall for sure. They might have come before. They did. I know 2 or 3 times before they went to Hawaii permanently.
And when you say before they went, was that Chad and Lori?
Yes, Chad and Lori both.
So they visited your residence on a few more occasions?
Yeah, probably no more than 3 all total.
And then you indicated that was before they went to Hawaii.
Yes.
Or I think you said Hawaii permanently.
Yeah.
At some point after they'd gone to Hawaii, did Chad end up returning to your residence?
He did after Lori had been arrested and was brought back to Rexburg. He got back. He came to our residence a day or 2 after that.
And without going into the details of why he was there, do you recall a conversation taking place regarding his prior statement about Lori having a daughter that had recently passed away?
Alice had asked him more about the kids, and I remember him commenting. She asked if Tylee, would be in college or whatever, or where she was at, And he said that she didn't really like him too much and that she just kind of stayed away. That's about all that I remember of that.
Wow. And TikTok, thank you so much. We hit that. We did end up hitting that fire goal. Y'all are unbelievable. Okay, let's see. Ooh, 10 hand hearts. There we go. Impossible. There's no way we can hit that one. Yo, if you're new here, though, my name's Patrick. Welcome to the channel. If you like true crime content, take a second, hit that follow button, please, and thank you. Same thing on YouTube, y'all, because we're live streaming over on YouTube as well. Hit that subscribe button and like the video, please. I really appreciate y'all. Okay, let's keep on going. And this is Todd Gilbert, Chad Daybell's neighbor, testifying, and the prosecution is still asking questions. Sam, thank you. Pearly, thank you. So sweet, y'all.
Just 1 moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Blake.
Let's see what the defense has got. They better be nice to this man.
On cross, would you prefer to do that before or after lunch?
We can do it after lunch.
Okay. We'll go ahead and take the lunch recess at this time since it's a logical breaking point. We will go back on the record at approximately 12:45, and we can continue with cross-examination at that time.
Don't worry, y'all. I can skip ahead.
We started later than we anticipated. At this time, then the state finished the direct examination of Mr. Gilbert. We're on to cross-examination at this time. So I'll remind the witness you're still under oath for your testimony. And then is it Mr. Archibald that will conduct cross? Yeah. All right, Mr. Archibald, you can cross-examine if you'd like.
At least it's Jim Archibald that's doing the cross, because the other guy, John Thomas, he's a bit rude at times. But let's see what we got. No, thanks for the hand heart.
Mr. Gilbert,
What did I miss?
you knew Chad and Tammy as their neighbor,
Yes.
and then you also attended church with them.
Yes.
And which church was that?
The Salem church there in the Salem area, Salem 3rd Ward.
Okay. And by ward, you mean which church?
It'd be the one that's just north of Rexburg, going down the Salem Highway. There's 3 wards that meet there, and it's a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Okay. And you've known Chad and Tammy Daybell since about March of 2017?
Right. Yes.
And you knew their children as well?
Yes.
And did you know Chad Daybell's name before he moved in?
Yes, I was familiar with these books, and I knew he was an author.
And what kind of books were they?
They were written as last day vision, things that were kind of like going to happen in the world, in this area.
And did you like those kind of books?
Yeah, they were kind of interesting. Yeah.
Okay. And so
I wonder where he's going to go with the defense on this, because we've heard him kind of go into the realm of like, well, Chad was very convincing. Chad was able to convince the coroner, the deputy coroner, and the police officers the day of Tammy's death that she had passed of natural causes. I wonder if that's what he's going to say here. Like, well, Chad convinced you about this stuff. And because right now this is Lori's defense, right? So they're trying to shift the blame as much as possible from Lori to anybody else. And it seems like Chad Daybell is kind of the one that the defense is really trying to be like, well, he did this a lot. He did this a lot. He was very convincing. So he convinced Lori is kind of where they're going, is what it seems like to me, at least. That's my speculation. But I'm not the defense counsel, so I have no idea. But that's what I think. And y'all, if you're new here, take a second, hit that follow button. My name's Patrick. Welcome to the channels. If you like true crime content, hit that follow button, please, and thank you. And y'all, I switched it to the little hand hearts over here. We need 4 more. What? Y'all are incredible. Thank you so much for the love. And YouTube, shout out. We're live streaming on YouTube as well. I really appreciate you guys being here. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that follow button, or sorry, hit that like button. Yes, that's the one. Follows and likes, and anyways, let's keep going. Preciously Psychic. Thank you so much, Sarah. You were so sweet. Thank you. All right, 3 more of those. Let's keep going.
So you would buy his books, and they were supposed to be fiction.
Yeah, he said that they were based on fiction with mixed of some of the visions that he'd seen.
And so when he talked to you about this, he would say, my dreams and my visions are real, but then I put fictional characters with them and write a book about it.
Yes, pretty well. That's the way he would word it.
Okay. So did you think that he was making up his dreams and his visions? Was that the fiction part, or was the fiction part the names associated with his dreams and visions?
Mostly the names were all fictional in them. The situations were kind of, I took it as visions that he'd had, not mainly word for word, but, kind of, he would use that for the basis.
Okay. And would he talk to you privately about his dreams and visions?
Sometimes in church we would talk between meetings or something.
We hit that goal too. Y'all are incredible. Y'all TikTok, thank you so much. Keep tapping the screen too. Let's go for 100K likes. I got to reset that goal now too. Oh my goodness. And y'all hit that follow button, please. And thank you. We're trying to get to 100K followers by the end of this month, y'all. We were at 50K on Friday, and we're already at, let me refresh. Are we at 55? Oh, we're close to 55. Y'all, everybody watching right now, hit that follow button. Let's hit 55,000 right now. Wow. You guys are amazing.
And did you believe that he was telling you the truth, or did you feel like he was full of crap?
I felt like that I didn't know for sure, or it hadn't happened to me like that. I thought, well, I guess it could have happened to him, but I wasn't 100% sure, put it that way.
Okay. And now, eventually, after getting to know you, he wrote a series with you in books. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
And those books were called the Times of Turmoil series?
Yes.
And he wrote about a brother Gilbert. Would that be you?
Yes, that's what he said.
All right.
Wow.
And where does the brother come from?
In the LDS church, a lot of times people are called brothers and sisters, just addressed that way.
Okay. So you weren't really his biological brother.
No.
But in church lingo, he would call you Brother Gilbert.
Yes.
And these books, Times of Turmoil, what are they about with you in them?
They were about, he wrote 2 different series, and this was the second series, which is kind of updated, I guess, for the times that we were in. And they was pretty well the same type of series, just last days visions, things that's going to possibly happen.
Wow. Jennifer, thank you for sending the cake. Y'all, I updated it to the cakes. 100 cakes? Impossible. But Jennifer says, no, here's one. Mary says, here's one as well. Thank you for that. Yo, you do not have to send the gifts, but I really appreciate it. Thank you for helping to support the channel. You guys are absolutely incredible. And if you're new here, take a second and just hit that follow button, would you? Very, very much appreciated. And let's see, did we hit 55? Oh, we're close, y'all. Less than 100 away from 55,000 followers. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Lady Sydney, thank you for the cake as well.
That's what he said.
And so when you read these books with your name in it as Brother Gilbert, was that flattery or was that an insult?
I would imagine I think it was flattery. He told me beforehand that he was going to have me in one of the books, so I knew it was coming.
Okay.
I think it was flattery.
Sam, thank you.
And he wrote good things about you in there.
Yes.
All right. He didn't insult you in any way.
Nope.
Okay, good. So with these books, did you then take that as this is not fiction, this is real life for Chad?
No, I feel that he thought a lot of that stuff was going to happen that way, and that's why he wrote it that way. So I would think he thought it was going to be real life for him.
And it was these times of turmoil was about the end of the days, end of the world.
Yeah. Yes.
And that bad things were going to happen, and then Jesus would come.
Yeah, thereabouts. A lot of minor stuff would happen before that Christ would come back.
Jennifer, thank you so much. Y'all, unbelievable. Thank you for the gifts. You guys don't have to do that, but I really appreciate it. Thanks for the love. Thanks for the support. Shout out to YouTube too. Good seeing you guys on here. Thanks for the super chats. All right, let's keep going.
Okay. And so you talked to Chad Daybell about these books. Were they successful?
I believe he sold them pretty good from what I know. Yes.
Who was his, if you know, who was his target audience in these books?
Mainly people that were in the preparation, I guess, for the things that's happening.
Getting ready for the end of the world?
I don't know if I'd say the end of the world, but preparation, being prepared.
So when you talk about being prepared, I mean, the general theme is when Jesus comes, that's going to be great. It's going to be good, right?
Yes.
So being prepared, are you talking about being prepared for bad things that come before the good things come?
Being prepared to be able to survive the bad things as they go along. If you're prepared, you'll be able to handle them a lot better than if you're not.
Okay.
But that took into account a lot of stuff like physical items and everything too.
Okay. So when we talk about seminars with preparing a people, when we talk about being prepared for Jesus coming, you're mostly talking about bad things that are going to happen before Jesus comes.
Some of the speakers spoke that, some of them didn't. Some of them was on food preparation and items such as that. They didn't really get into real wild last days, things like that.
Okay. But isn't the theme of when Jesus comes again, it's going to be a good thing, not a bad thing?
Correct.
Yes, this is the audio from yesterday. Y'all, so we're listening to the audio from yesterday because the judge said no to live streaming or live audio during these proceedings. So right now they are in proceedings, but we don't get to actually listen in. So we only get the recorded audio at the very end of the day, sometimes the next day. So what we're listening to right now, we listened to some of it last night, but we're listening to the rest of it right now while court is in session today. And this witness being questioned is Todd Gilbert, and this is Chad Daybell's neighbor at the time. And so he testified about Chad's behavior around the time and then after Tammy had passed, and how it was really strange that he was just kind of upbeat within a week or a little over a week, was talking about getting married again to Lori Vallow and everything like that. So that's where we're at right now. And y'all, if you're new here, hit that follow button. TikTok, shout out to y'all. Hit that follow button. And y'all, we're trying to hit that goal. If you want to help support the channel, 100 cakes. Let's see it. Thank you guys. I appreciate that. You don't have to do it, but I do appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Jennifer, thank you. Ooh, thanks for the follow, y'all.
Now, you said you also listened to podcasts about this. Can you tell us about some of those podcasts?
There's been several different podcasts in the past. I know that Lori was involved with the podcast with Melanie Gibb and Jason Mao that we started listening to off and on, and they interviewed Chad one time.
Thank you, Gabby.
And
now, our podcasts, are they like on the radio or on the internet or on YouTube?
You could get them on the internet.
On the internet.
On a website.
So you would have to go looking for podcasts about certain topics?
Yeah, yes.
And you and your wife would do this together?
Objection, Your Honor. I think I've waited a while, but I think this is beyond the, well, actually I don't see the relevance of where we're headed here.
Relevance, Mr. Archibald.
Your Honor, he testified in direct. I'm following up on questions from the state of Idaho. I'm just going through what the state of Idaho elicited from this gentleman.
And Your Honor, if I may briefly respond.
Go ahead.
I think in response to a question, he indicated something about listening to one podcast. There was not further discussion on that. There wasn't discussion of multiple podcasts, how he got them, or anything along those lines.
All right, I'll allow a little bit of latitude here for you to keep going, Mr. Archibald. At some point, it needs to tie into relevance here. I'm concerned we're getting outside of relevant testimony.
So you mentioned a podcast about Jason Mao. Who is that?
He's a man in Arizona that was involved with the podcast. I don't know a real lot about him.
Is he the retired policeman who now is a motivational speaker?
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
Yeah.
I think we're outside the scope at this point, Mr. Archibald.
You mentioned Melanie Gibb.
Yes.
The jury has heard from Melanie Gibb. Would that be Lori's friend?
Yes.
And do you remember anyone else on that podcast other than Lori Vallow?
No, just those three. And they would interview people sometimes. They interviewed Chad one time and we heard that.
Does the name Thor sound familiar?
Yes.
Okay, so was it the same podcast involving Thor?
Yes, I believe. Yes, it was.
Your Honor, I have
And that's what, y'all, we listened, or we tried to listen to parts of that podcast last night because they actually played the recording in the courtroom. And during the actual recording of the podcast, y'all, I don't know what they were thinking, but there was like birds in the background and dogs running around, and it was super loud. So it was really hard to hear. First off, just because we were listening to the recording of a recording being played, so that sonically it didn't sound that great. But on top of that, y'all, those birds were driving us crazy. So we couldn't even finish listening to it. If you want to listen to it, though, that audio is on East Idaho News. He did a great job of just isolating that part of the testimony. But it sounds like they did it inside the zoo, y'all. It was loud. But you can check it out if you want to. Shout out to East Idaho News. That's actually who on YouTube, that's who this video is right now. Link is down in the bio. Go show him some love. And TikTok, same thing. That's where this audio is coming from right now. So if you want to listen to this on your own, it is on YouTube. Just type in Lori Vallow Audio, East Idaho News. Any of that stuff, you'll find it. Shout out to him. Really, really good stuff. He posted very quickly too, which I appreciate. But yeah, just in case, because some people are like, oh my God, why are you talking? Well, because it's a live stream on my channel. That's why. But yeah, if you don't want to listen to me, it's fine. I don't take it personal. But that's where you can find it if that's more your style. And shout out, y'all. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button on TikTok. I appreciate that. Thank you for all the gifts too over here on TikTok, y'all. We're trying to hit 100 of these little TikTok cakes, so I appreciate that. So thank you so much. Obviously, you don't have to do that, but it is very sweet of you guys to help support the channel. And we're very close to 100,000 likes on TikTok right now, y'all. Unbelievable. YouTube, I can't see the likes, but where are we at on YouTube, y'all? Hit that like button. All right, let's keep going.
Thor.
Oh, and this is Todd Gilbert. This is Todd Daybell's neighbor testifying, and this is now the defense doing the cross examination.
Yes, I believe. Yes, it was.
Just the bartender. Thank you.
Your Honor, I have what's marked here as Defendant's Exhibit E. It's a podcast recording with Jason Mao, Thor, Melanie Gibb, and Lori Vallow.
Just the bartender. 30 of them.
To introduce this exhibit
Thank you so much.
to play to the jury.
And Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes.
You guys are going to see what I say here in a second. I'll let y'all decide. I mean, we tried last night. It's got to be the same audio. We can skip ahead if you guys want to. We could try to listen to a little bit of it. I'll leave it up to y'all. But Doreen, thank you so much for subscribing to the channel over on TikTok, y'all. You can subscribe on TikTok, and that does help the channel as well. So huge shout out, Doreen. Thank you for that. In fact, we're trying to get to 121 subscribers, y'all. We're at 112. Shout out to y'all. Very, very sweet of you. Okay. I'll play a few, maybe like 30 seconds to a minute of this, and I'll let y'all decide if you guys want to listen to that. Jennifer, thank you. That's not it yet, y'all. They haven't hit play yet. Fast forward a second.
I'm good right now.
Back on the record, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, doesn't happen often, but sometimes it does happen where we need to hear a motion that would allow some argument that would be improper for you to hear at this point because it relates to evidence that may or may not be admitted. So for that reason, we are going to need to hear this motion at this point. I'll have you return to the jury deliberation room to wait while the motion is argued and heard. So we're not considering this a scheduled break. It's just a motion to take up to keep the evidence moving and have me make a ruling outside of your presence. So at this point, I'll have everyone rise for the jury and they'll retire to the room.
All right, please. The jury's got to leave. You keep going.
A podcast. It's offered as Exhibit E. There's been an objection from the state. We've appropriately determined to hear argument on the admissibility of this exhibit outside the presence of the jury. The court will indicate I've been advised that the podcast is an hour and 49 minutes. Is that correct, Mr. Archibald?
Yes, Your Honor.
And would you intend to publish to the jury that entire hour 49 in the course of your cross-examination?
Yes.
All right. As a practical concern, if it's admissible, we can do that. I have not reviewed and don't know what the podcast has. So in order to, I think, lay an adequate foundation for me to consider that, I need a proffer from the defense about what is contained in this podcast recording that you believe would make this admissible evidence at trial.
And Your Honor, I apologize for interjecting, but before the defense does that, I would ask that the witness be excused then. My concern is the proffer from the defense may educate the witness who they're attempting to lay foundation through.
I think that's a good point, Ms. Blake. I think it would be appropriate then that Mr. Gilbert will have you wait outside while we take up this procedural issue, and then we'll have you return to the stand once it's been determined by the court.
To be honest, he probably didn't want to listen to it anyways. So shout out to the prosecution for excusing as many people as possible to not have to listen to the birds and the dogs that you guys are about to hear. And they did all, no wonder this is an hour. This is 3 hours of testimony, but it's nearly 2 hours of just the podcast being played. Wow. Okay, let's keep going. And once again, y'all, I'm going to play it. Or let them play it. But we tried to listen to this last night, and it was incredibly difficult to listen to. Not because of the content, but because of, well, I guess the content, but not of what they're saying, just because it sounds like they're in a zoo, y'all. Listen. Hit it. I'm going to fast forward a little bit, y'all.
Proffer regarding the contents of this podcast, and I'll allow for some argument. In addition, I'll allow response from the state. What is the podcast going to show?
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, this is an exhibit that was provided to us in discovery.
Actually, this is maybe it's good to just hear the defense tell us why he's playing all this. So then we kind of get the cliff notes right now, so we don't have to listen to all of it. Oops, go on. What are you doing? Hit play.
It's dated November 4th of 2018. It's a recording. Melanie Gibb is the first speaker. She, from 0 minutes to 4 minutes, She introduces everyone and welcomes people to the podcast. There are people in attendance. She speaks for 4 minutes. Then a person by the name of Thor Furuseth identifies himself as a Native American Indian. He talks about his hard life and then finding God, finding Jesus. He speaks for the next 14 minutes. Then Jason Mao speaks for the next 13 minutes. He introduces himself as a retired policeman and now a motivational speaker. He talks about being down in the dumps, so to speak, and then finding Jesus, and is now a motivational speaker.
This is exactly what we needed, y'all, to not have to listen to the entire podcast. Just give us the cliff notes on it. Perfect. And you guys are going to see what I'm talking about here in just a second.
Lori Vallow.
And y'all, thank you so much for being here. I see a bunch of new people over here on TikTok. Take a second, y'all. Hit that follow button, please. My name is Patrick. If you like true crime content, I do these live streams every single day and post a lot of videos on this channel, true crime related. We're also live streaming on YouTube, so shout out to YouTube, especially when we get back into the trials that are going to be publicly live streamed. I'm going to be doing a lot more of that on YouTube. So, guys, if you're over here, make sure you come over and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. It's the same name, The Haunted Side, on YouTube. You can search it or click the link in the bio, and there's like a little YouTube button you can click to go and check that out. But come hang out and subscribe over there. We're live streaming there as well. Shout out to everybody on YouTube. So let's keep going. So they're about to play the podcast, but we're getting the cliff notes from the defense attorney because the podcast itself, not only was it hard to hear because we're listening to the recording of a recording, but during the podcast, there was like birds and animals running around, and it was incredibly hard to listen to. But yeah, let's keep going. And y'all, thank you for the cakes. We're almost there. We're almost halfway to the cake goal on TikTok. You don't have to do that, but I appreciate it. Thank you for the love and thank you for the support, y'all. Very sweet of you guys. All right, let's keep going.
Vallow is the next speaker. She speaks for 9 minutes. She introduces herself and talks about her former husband, Joe Ryan, abusing her children, and how finding Jesus and attending the temple helped her escape that scenario. It then goes back to Jason Mao, Melanie Gibb, Jason Mao, Thor, Lori, Zulema. So even Zulema is there, and she talks and asks questions. So it's a podcast that I believe this witness listened to, since he identified the names. He identified Lori Vallow, Melanie Gibb, Thor, and Jason Mao. They talk about their motivations. They talk about their beliefs. I think it would educate the jury in what the subjects of these podcasts are, would educate the jury, fill in some of the blanks they may have about these religious gatherings, these religious meetings. And so that is my purpose in admitting the exhibit.
And can you give me a little more information on how this would relate to proper cross-examination with this particular witness that's on the stand, Mr. Gilbert?
Mr. Gilbert testified through questions from the state that Chad Daybell had told him about dreams and visions, and that his visions were real, his books were fictional. He was teaching gospel topics, religious subjects, that he would listen to Chad that he was a friend of Chad, and that they would talk about religious issues. Chad introduced Lori to the Gilbert family, and they had discussions with them. So it provides some background, some foundation into what the state has introduced in their case in chief.
All right, and as a final question, Mr. Archibald, then would it be necessary to publish the entire podcast? Is that what you want to do, all the witnesses on the stand? Is this something you have excerpts that you think are more relevant than other places that could be played, allowing the jurors to further consider that in deliberations?
The first 40 minutes, it is an hour and 49 minutes long. The first 40 minutes are distinct in that all four of the speakers identify themselves and their history. And then it repeats itself. Then with questions and more comments, then they all take turns responding to questions. So I would be okay, actually, Your Honor, with the first 40 minutes played rather than the whole hour and 49 minutes.
Okay, thanks for your responses, Mr. Archibald. At this point, then I'll hear argument and objection from the state.
Thank you, Your Honor. And the state objects for multiple reasons. One, this particular exhibit was not listed on the exhibit list provided to the state. I do recognize that this was provided in discovery. I believe it was recovered from electronic device. However, based on what's been presented today, there is a lack of foundation. The witness simply testified about a podcast that he'd heard, identified some individuals he recalled being present. There is no indication that he was present to authenticate that the recording was true and accurate of what took place. He has not indicated the date or time that this podcast was made. He has not indicated a date or time of when he located or heard it. He has also not indicated the location where he found it or through what media he was able to hear it. In addition, it contains hearsay. There are 4 speakers identified. None of them are here today as witnesses, including Mr. Gilbert. The other witnesses' statements would be hearsay. In addition, it's been presented that there are statements of the defendant in there. It appears to be an attempt by the defendant to get statements in without taking the stand. Further.
There you go. I told y'all. I would imagine that she would not take the stand, because then it's like anything the defense has done, game over. The prosecution can just go full on. And that's a good point, that the statements made in there is the ability for her to make those statements without actually being on the stand. So that does make sense. She's doing a good job, but I mean, ultimately, it sounds like the judge ends up ruling in the defense's favor because they did play 40 minutes of this audio. But let's keep going. By the way, if you guys are new here, I see a bunch of new people on TikTok. Take a second. If you like true crime content, my name's Patrick. Hit that follow button. Welcome to the family. Get to know the people down here in the chat. There's almost 800 of you guys watching now on TikTok. So shout out to y'all. I really appreciate that. Thanks for hanging out. We're trying to hit that little goal too. If you guys want to help support the channel, you could send the cake gift if you want to. You guys obviously don't have to, but I definitely appreciate it. Jennifer, thank you for the cake as well. Unbelievable. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. And thanks for the follows, guys. Cindy, thank you so much. Very, very, very much appreciated. Shout out to YouTube too. I appreciate you guys as well. Thanks for the super chats. Hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already.
The purported reasons for the relevance include Mr. Gilbert talking about beliefs Chad Daybell shared with him. There is no indication or representation that Chad Daybell is on that podcast presenting any of his beliefs. It does not appear to be proper cross at all. Instead, if there is any relevance to obtaining the religious beliefs of these other individuals, I think they could be subpoenaed in by the defense, or should have been. Further, There is simply no relevance of this. Mr. Gilbert just testifying that Chad shared some religious beliefs does not appear to open the door to then 4 other individuals talking about and or sharing their religious beliefs in a podcast. So for all those reasons, the state would be objecting to the introduction of this exhibit. And we would request, if the court was going to consider introducing this exhibit, that we take a recess for the state to review it. I recognize it's in the discovery, but given the fact that the discovery production in this case particularly has been very voluminous, and this was not highlighted as an exhibit until recently, we would just request time to be able to review it if the court were going to admit it.
Okay. Let me address a couple of those objections made by the state. First, I wanted to clarify. So the defense, I believe, indicated that as part of your exhibit list would be all of the state's exhibits. Is that correct, Mr. Archibald?
Yes.
And is this an exhibit that the state had at some point put on a exhibit list?
Are you asking me?
Either one of you. Is this on the state's exhibit list?
No, Your Honor.
All right. So, Mr. Archibald, was this disclosed as an exhibit or not? I thought I heard a representation that you thought it had been.
It was disclosed in discovery, but I don't think we put this on our exhibit list because we did not know that Mr. Gilbert was going to say what he said.
All right. I've considered the objections here. Here's how I'm going to rule on this exhibit. First, it was disclosed in discovery. It wasn't listed on the exhibit list. However, it was initially testified to by the witness,
Lisa, thank you.
Mr. Gilbert.
Tammy, thank you.
The court has to consider primarily Idaho Rule of Evidence 403, which is whether or not this would be more probative than prejudicial, or whether it could result in undue delay, wasting time, or presenting cumulative evidence, among other things in that rule. The courts considered that time of disclosure where it was revealed in discovery but not put forth as a specific exhibit. I will note that in weighing things out, the defense has offered very few exhibits up to this point. Of course, they're not in a case in chief yet, so that's to be expected. The witness himself may or may not be able to lay foundation for this. So if Mr. Gilbert recognizes this as a podcast or a podcast that he's previously listened to and can confirm that this seems to accurately represent that podcast that he previously has heard, then I think that would allow enough of a foundation for the court to consider the admissibility on that based on a foundation, but that's got to come next with the witness potentially laying the foundation.
Mm-hmm. Kelly, yeah, I love how fair this judge really is. He's definitely a fair judge. I'll give him that. Absolutely.
I'll overrule the objection that these may be comments of the defendant that somehow work against the Fifth Amendment right. There's been plenty of other statements introduced she's made during the course of trial where she still maintains her Fifth Amendment right. Statements made to other, and these are statements outside of the scope of that Fifth Amendment right in this prior broadcast.
That makes sense.
Proposal here is that this be edited down essentially to what's being heard as the first 40 minutes. In order to keep things moving at this point, what I am going to do is allow the initial publishing of it, the start of it, for the witness to see if a foundation can be laid for its admissibility. If we get to that point of admissibility and the foundation is laid, then because it's been disclosed in discovery, despite the objection procedurally, I'll allow the first 40 minutes to be published to the jury. However, I do want to be able to stop the recording at any given point over a more specific objection from the state to determine whether or not it'd be necessary to have a further in-camera review of the exhibit or review of the exhibit by the state, at least outside the presence of the jurors. So we need to be ready to stop it at any given point.
Wow. Angela, thank you so much. Moonchild, thank you so much. Ruthie, thank you so much for the gifts. Moonchild, more cakes as well. You guys are amazing. Thank you so very much. We're very close on that one. Brittany, so they didn't allow the audio to be live streamed because the judge didn't want to take the chance of any of these witnesses hearing testimony that they weren't allowed to hear, weren't supposed to hear. Not to mention that this case is just massive notoriety. So I think he just kind of wanted to keep a lid on it so that wouldn't take place. And this is my own speculation, but this courtroom has been plagued with all kinds of technical issues: the projector, the microphones, even to the laser pointers that some of the witnesses were using. And I imagine that might have persuaded him a little bit too, because he didn't want to deal with now adding another element of technology on top of it when they've had issues with just about everything, it seems like. So I think that's probably why, but mainly because of the exclusionary rule, where he didn't want the witnesses to be able to hear the testimony of the other witnesses. Okay, so let's keep going, because it sounds like he's ruling yes.
Either on me indicating that needs to happen or an objection made by counsel. So I'll provisionally allow for it to go forward to see if it can be admitted with foundation. The first 40 minutes may be published on that conditions I've indicated. So with that in mind, that'll be my ruling on this exhibit. I do find I'll also indicate under 403 that the relevancy here does come in the fact that the state has specifically included as overt acts in the conspiracies the religious beliefs of the defendant here and the co-defendant. And because of the overt acts expressly stating religious beliefs to be part of that, I would find that the religious beliefs have been brought into the case and are relevant for the jurors to potentially consider. So that's the court's ruling. We'll have the witness return to the stand.
And
you can
Your
stop
Honor,
the initial broadcast, Mr. Archibald, and see if a foundation can be laid. Ms. Blake.
And Your Honor, I apologize, but I just wanted to make the record clear. The objection to the defendant's statement is not anything to do with the Fifth Amendment. It's based on the fact that statements of a party opponent are allowed. I do not believe that, and I believe the defendant is actually barred from introducing her own statements through recording. So if the court is going to allow it, we would ask the court to reconsider that part. I believe that she would be barred from introducing her own statements.
That may be the case, Ms. Blake, but I just don't know what the statements are. I think it somewhat depends on what those statements are, and I haven't heard this. So at that point, if there's a renewed objection when it gets to where she's going to make commentary, we may well have to stop, and I may have to review the recording. So to keep things moving, we'll start at that point. I'll keep that objection under advisement and further rule on that if it's brought up by the state. So that'll be my ruling on the objection to admission of the defense exhibit. We'll have the witness return to the stand, please, and then we'll have the jurors brought back in.
Wow. Okay, so they're going to play the podcast. We already knew that because they listened to part of it, but it was good to hear exactly how they brought that back in, how the judge was going to rule on that. Y'all, it is almost noon, and I actually haven't eaten breakfast yet, so I'm going to take a little break myself, and then I'll jump back on here in a little while on both platforms, y'all. So I'll be on TikTok live again, and YouTube. I'll be on YouTube live also. So really quick, take a second. TikTok, if you are new here, hit that follow button so you get notified when I go live again. Same thing on YouTube, y'all. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thank you so much for being here, y'all. We're going to continue listening to this, and then we're also going to, as soon as today's audio is made available, we'll start listening to that as well. Thank you for all the love and support too, y'all. Unbelievable. Especially the gifts on TikTok. Y'all are so incredible. Galaxy Gang, check in real quick before we head out. And I switched it to the TikTok logo. So let's see if we hit that right before we go. But thank you guys, YouTube. I'm gonna go ahead and end it now. The broadcast. So huge shout out. Make sure you subscribe if you're new here. Hit the follow or hit the like button. Sorry. And I'll see you guys on YouTube. I'll see you guys here very soon. Take care. And yeah, we'll see you back in just a little while.